T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're listening to The Twisted 10, bringing you original and unique, host-created top 10 lists, recorded live in world-famous Cocoa Beach, Florida, with hosts Tack Van Sickle and Adam Poston.
Welcome to The Twisted 10. I am one of your hosts, Adam, and over to my right is Tack. How are you doing, Tack?
What's up?
Yeah. This is a top 10 list that is a host-generated top 10 list. This is not something we yank off the internet, and it's our own derivatives of what we find interesting and poignant to give to our audience.
Indeed.
So welcome to episode number 4.
Thank you.
So each week, one of the hosts comes up with a list and delivers it on air live with spontaneity to the other host or to the guests that happen to be in the studio.
That's right, Adam. This week you're hosting. Yep. I have no idea what topic you brought to the table.
So I kind of teased it a little bit in episode number 3. And if you didn't get the tease, I don't really remember what the tease was, but if you didn't get it in the tease...
I don't even remember what the tease was.
This week is the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist.
Oh, so it's like it'll play on the Twisted 10.
Yes. I see what you did there. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it. I mean, yes, that is exactly what I meant when I came up with the
right.
top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist.
Good job, Adam.
You want to know the twist is? I don't mind telling the twist up front, because you can think about this as we go through the top 10.
So we're going to M. Night this? Okay.
A little bit. So this is the top 10 that I found most interesting. Top 10 conspiracy theories. The twist is 2 out of these top 10 turn out to be true.
Ooh.
Yes.
So do we have to guess at the end?
Yeah.
Or I have to guess?
You're going to have to guess. It's just me and you.
Well, me and the listeners.
Yes.
Okay.
I won't say anything until the very end, but 2 of these top 10 conspiracy theories is true.
Cool.
Let me preface this by saying, because some of what Tack and I do for a living, government related, these are conspiracy theories. These are internet finds. This is not mine and Tack's personal opinions. So these,
right.
We need to make sure we clarify that right now.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, getting that liability out of the way. So let's jump right off with one of the most outstanding conspiracy theories that I've heard in a long time.
Okay.
And a lot of these, Tack, you're probably going to know.
Okay.
Or have heard of them before. A couple of them, I guarantee you haven't. But let's go with it anyway. So number 10 on the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist is the moon landing. The conspiracy theory is that we never actually landed on the moon back in the 60s.
Right.
That it actually never happened. Conspiracy theories, theorists tear apart the photos and video citing evidence of photo alteration, no stars in the background, no photos of the gear left on the moon. So the moon has no atmosphere. 0 atmosphere.
Correct.
All right. So one of the proofs that the conspiracy theorists cite is that the flag, when planted, the American flag, flutters as if it's in the wind.
Right.
All right.
I watched Mythbusters, the whole episode where they debunked this completely, and of course that we've gone to the moon. Absolutely.
Yeah. Granted, at the time of the original conspiracy theories came out, they might not have had good photos of the equipment that's left on the moon, but it's very evident on many NASA websites now that you can see the lander that's still there, the vehicle. Right. You can see where the
tracks are still there.
Because there's no wind and there's nothing on the surface of the moon that's going to cause anything. So all the footprints, all of the tracks of the vehicles made, everything is still there.
Yep. Not to mention that the mirror that's also placed on the surface as well, that you send a laser to and it returns.
Yep.
So it wouldn't do that otherwise.
Also, if you ask Buzz Aldrin about this, as a journalist did a few years back, about the conspiracy about not landing on the moon, you might get socked in the face, as did this journalist. But this guy got to ask Buzz Aldrin, and he straight decked this guy. Old Buzz Aldrin. This wasn't young whippersnapper. This is old Buzz Aldrin.
No, he
punched this guy right in the face.
Buzz Aldrin's an interesting character. I mean, I believe absolutely that he punched somebody in the face. That's not surprising at all. And what's cool about him is that he's also, you start talking about UFOs and shit with him, and he speaks a little... like, hey, I heard the U.S. government, has aliens and, alien technology over Area 51.
Hey, don't be jumping ahead in my top 10 list
anyway,
here.
he'll be one of those, well, I can't confirm, or deny, but I've seen some shit.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. So that was number 10. Number 9 on the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist is Big Brother. And I'm not talking about the reality show. I'm talking about
right.
the government called Big Brother.
The government spying in on.
It's also called Deep State. Deep State sounds like a porn. Or shadow government or government in waiting. Essentially, this is a government or a continuity of government that's put in place in certain cases, like if there's a nuclear war that happens, or if there's an impact from an asteroid or some kind of major catastrophe in the U.S. or terrorist attack or anything that's in real situations that could occur, this government in waiting or Big Brother or Deep State comes out and takes over and takes effect. So one of the quotes that they use to cite this is that during 9/11, this shadow government stepped in and took over until, everything was brought back down to normal situations to where, normal government could take back over and run the country as it was supposed to. So that's a conspiracy. It's not recognized as being accurate, but that's a conspiracy theory that is out there.
I gotcha. Okay.
It says since the end of the Cold War, the policies and procedures for COG, or continuity of government, have been altered according to realistic threats of that time. These include, but are not limited to, possible coup or overthrow, terrorist groups or terrorist attacks in general, an assassination, nuclear attacks, and so on. So this is currently labeled as Big Brother or Deep State. Very interesting conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I never heard that one.
All right. Number 8, the CIA created AIDS.
I've never heard this one either. But.
This conspiracy theory is that the CIA created AIDS in order to wipe out homosexuals and African Americans. Suggests that vaccines administered in the U.S. by the U.S. government actually contain the disease. However, the conspiracy theorists are divided in concluding when the CIA actually administered the disease in said vaccines, with one theory being that it was created in military labs before deliberately injected into gay men during the 1978 hepatitis B experiments in parts of America. So the CIA created AIDS.
When we
conspiracy
were
theory.
Younger, AIDS was like huge back then. Like,
way more popular. Now it's just like, meh.
Yeah, like now you don't hear anything about AIDS anymore.
It's livable now. We've talked about that in the past. It's livable. I wouldn't say curable unless you've got millions of dollars to throw at it, but it's livable. You can survive and have a normal, healthy life.
Right, they like tattooed that shit in our brains. Like, sorry, they tattooed that shit in our brains. Like we're gonna get AIDS. You'll get AIDS. Be protected. Watch out for sex. And we all started thinking, well, they were trying to scare us just to stay virgins, you know? Because like back then, like we never knew anybody with AIDS.
AIDS was the scariest thing to our generation of youth for sure.
Yeah. And then now you don't even hear anything about it anymore. It's crazy.
Agreed.
And we were told that it was created in a lab,
Yep. Yeah.
And
some of the conspiracy theories
scientists fucked up.
Yep.
And then made it, injected himself with it, went home, slept with his wife, and next thing you know, it's an epidemic.
There were parts of this conspiracy theory, and I'll kind of I'll dip into some of the more unbelievable parts, not necessarily some of the believable parts, but some of the unbelievable parts were that this HIV and AIDS were created in monkeys originally in labs, and then monkeys interspecies had sex with humans, and that's how humans got the disease. They didn't think that it was contractable between monkeys and humans, but it ends up it was. And that's how the disease spread even further from
So
Agent
why were
Zero.
they sleeping with monkeys?
I don't, man, scientists, they'll do some crazy things. I'm just saying. All right. So
I heard that scientists have lonely weekends, but
it's all about the experiment, man. All right. So that was number 8. Number 7 on the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist is the Hollow Earth conspiracy theory. Have you ever heard this?
I've heard of Hollow Moon, but not Hollow Earth.
Hollow Earth. All right. So some conspiracy theorists believe that the Earth is actually hollow, able to be accessed using an entrance on the South Pole. And theoretically with this, it could also be accessed on the North Pole as well. Maybe that's where Santa Claus lives. Who knows? Apparently, it's a secret that multiple governments have been trying to keep from us for centuries. To support this theory, there have been experiments in zero-gravity labs in space, up in our space station, to see what happens to a rotating sphere of liquid. This is actually really cool to watch. If you take a rotating mass of liquid and fill that mass of liquid with, like, I think they were showing segments, little pieces of sand or little pieces of yogurt, which is partially fluid and partially solid, and then also a little bit of air, so some sort of condensed air inside that bubble, and then set it to rotate, so spin it in zero gravity. So this is as if our Earth was. Our Earth is also made and has molten core center, so that's the center of the Earth, which gives us our poles.
Has nougat too.
Excuse me, what?
Has nougat.
Nougat, like a
nougat
candy bar? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing that happens when you watch this sphere spin in these experiments that are documented on YouTube, you can go and see them. I mean, they're probably documented in real science labs, but you can see them on YouTube.
Gotcha.
What happens over time, this doesn't happen right away, but it takes, several minutes for this to happen inside this rotating sphere of liquid, is that it creates poles. So it creates a artificial gravity poles, north and south pole. And between those poles, the oxygen or gas condenses into a tube or tunnel-like structure towards the center. And it stays dead in the center, leaving a hollow sphere going through the center. And on the outside of this liquid that's rotating are the solids. And then throughout the inside of it are the amorphous solids, or the partially solid, partially liquid, like the yogurt.
Right.
So the sand goes to the outside and stays at the outside of the bubble, maybe like our crust of Earth.
Right.
The amorphous solid, or magma would sit somewhere in between, and the gas stays at the very center, or oxygen would stay at the very center of the Earth, leaving that structure in that experiment, in multiple experiments, hollow. So the theory behind it is that even though our core could be made up of molten magma or molten iron, is what scientists are saying, that there could be an interior that is livable and maybe even lit by some sort of fusion reaction inside that molten core. So there is a potential that the theory could have some basis behind it. And remember, 2 of these are true.
Right. So I've heard that there's a theory that the moon was also hollow too, because it rang like a bell, and it just kept ringing, almost as if like it was hollow.
How did it ring? How did it get struck to be
I forget. Wrong? I think something had hit it, like an asteroid or something like that.
Huh.
And they have like a seismograph, like on the moon. And so, but it just kept going, and they were just like, what? This is reacting as if like it's hollow, like a bell, And so it was a theory, and it still is. They're still looking into it. Now, my question to you is, so why is that a conspiracy theory? Like, it's just a theory from what I would gather, meaning like...
Well, the conspiracy is that the governments would be hiding it from us.
Why? What are they gaining from that?
A place to stick stuff? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine on that. I couldn't tell you.
Like a vault, you mean?
Yeah, it's the Earth's vault.
I guess.
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's an interesting theory, though. It does
could be a place to go during an apocalypse, and certain governments want to control it. It's an advantageous place to travel to the other side of the Earth a lot faster. I don't know. It is a good question. I don't know.
I mean, you could have done that anyway with a solid Earth. I mean, still, it's going to take it's not like it's super easy to get through. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's hard. It's a long distance,
All right. So that was number 7.
That was interesting, though.
Number 6 on the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist is Planet X, or Nibiru. Have you ever heard of this one before?
I'm not sure. Keep going.
This is an unbelievable conspiracy that's out there. Now, this has existed for quite some time and has some latest news to support it, which is pretty interesting. Latest NASA scientific news. The Nibiru cataclysm is a supposed disastrous encounter between Earth and a large planetary object, either a collision or a near miss, which certain groups believe will take place in the early 21st century. So we're in the 21st century now, Tack. I'm just saying. Believers in this doomsday event usually refer to this object as Planet X or Nibiru. Now, Planet X was originally its name because there were 9 planets already identified. Planet X, or Planet 10, would have been this Nibiru. Now that they've debunked Pluto as a planet, it's no longer a planet, it's a planetoid object. This would be Planet 9. which leads me to my next topic here in just a second. Some of the other conspiracies behind Nibiru is that it's inhabited by lizard-like people and has an atmosphere of gold dust. That's how it can be so far away from the sun, orbiting our sun. The orbit is between 10 and 20,000 years, what you and I are conventionally used to.
Where's this Nibiru?
It orbits our sun, but it orbits our sun at a orbit like Earth takes 364 days, unless it's leap year, 365 days.
Leap day.
Yep. To circumvent the sun.
Right.
All right. So this takes between 10 and 20,000 years to make it around the sun in this for one cycle. So way the fuck out there. And it's supposed to pass between Earth and somewhere between Earth and Saturn, I think, is its path. And this next intersection is supposed to be so close to Earth that it's going to be a doomsday effect for us. Size of this planet is supposed to be 5 times larger than Earth currently.
Holy shit. So this is going to be something, if it's real, that we'll be able to see from...
Yeah,
we'll be able to see it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the other interesting part about this is, now, so this conspiracy theory has been around for years, like dating back to the 1970s. So in 2016, I think that it was discovered in 2015, but it was published by NASA in 2016. And this isn't affiliated with NASA in any stretch of the imagination. This is just conspiracy theories and articles found on the internet. NASA released some information regarding a scientific evidence of planet number 9. It has a mass of about 10 times that of Earth and orbits 20 times further from the sun than Neptune. That means it would take a new planet between 10,000 and 20,000 years to make one full orbit around the sun, according to Caltech. Essentially, NASA has discovered character traces in our solar system on how gravity pulls on everything in our solar system that they have shown evidence of the existence of a ninth
larger
planet.
Ninth planet.
Yes, that is out there. So now NASA has all the data that they need to identify where this planet is, if it's coming or going in its orbit, and they're now just looking for it. So they have the details of what they've already got the evidence to prove that it's real.
So I'm guessing that there's some sort of wobble. I'm guessing.
Correct. Yeah. Something. We need our boy Derek to call in on this one, but yes, there's something in there that will, in the evidence that NASA and the scientists around the world have found, that proves that part of it is absolutely true. So that's a teaser. That doesn't necessarily mean this is one of the 2 that are true out of the top 10.
Right.
But NASA is supporting this conspiracy theory so far with the existence of this planet.
Okay.
All right. So that is 10 through 6. We're going to take a break.
Alrighty.
We will be back in just a minute to round up the top 5, and the top 5 get rather interesting. So, all right, we'll be right back. Check out our new sponsor, Last Drop Vape. They make a premium e-liquid line that is simply fantastic. I vape a lot and use Last Drop Vape's blueberry and strawberry cream. They also have a chocolate that is spot on.
All of Last Drop Vape's premium e-liquids are proudly made in the USA. Their e-juice is bottled in a clean, certified, laboratory using 100% FDA compliant machinery, meeting AEMSA standards and future FDA regulations.
Visit them at lastdropvape.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/lastdropvape.
If you are interested in becoming a distributor, you can contact them at their website under the wholesaler section. All right, welcome back to the Twisted 10. I'm gonna go over the last 5, just the titles on each one of them.
I'm excited. This is very fascinating.
Top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist. Number 10 was the moon landing. Number 9 was Big Brother. Number 8 was the CIA created AIDS. Number 7 is the Hollow Earth. Number 6 is Planet X or Nibiru.
And we're also to be reminded that 2 of these have been proven true.
Correct. Not necessarily of those 5, but 2 of these top 10 are true. All right, so let's jump right in. Number 5 of the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist is 9/11. So now I'm not going to go into all of the details on 9/11, but we'll go into a couple. A May 2006 Zogby poll found that 42% of Americans believe that the government and the 9/11 Commission, quote, concealed or refused to investigate critical evidence that contradicts their official explanation of the September 11th attacks. All right. So the conspiracy behind this is that the government orchestrated and assisted in the 9/11 attacks. Mm-hmm. Now, let me preface this by saying, because some of what Tack and I do for a living, government related, these are conspiracy theories. These are internet finds. This is not mine and Tack's personal opinions. So these,
right.
We need to make sure we clarify that right now.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, getting that liability out of the way, some of the conspiracy theories that are out there is that jets were not scrambled, like attack jets, fighter jets were not scrambled in time to, shoot the other planes out of the sky that were not agreeing to land or going in for emergency landings at other airports. And the most damning evidence of all is for the conspiracy theories is that during the towers falling, I know this is sensitive to a lot of people out there. It is to me too. I've got some friends that had some loved ones that died in those attacks. But the conspiracy theory states that in the towers, if you watch the explosion footage, you can actually see controlled deaths. Have you ever watched a controlled death of a big building before?
Right.
You can see controlled deaths going off all the way down one of the towers just before it falls. And that's indicative of a controlled death, so a tower falls in the correct direction, so it doesn't fall over a building falls outside of where it's supposed to fall. Because the irony of it falling straight down is pretty damning. So the conspiracy that I'm focusing on here is that the government had something to do with the attacks and the towers that fell. Now, the other part of this that's really kind of curious. So we know the 2 attacks on the building, the towers in New York. We know about the one in the Pentagon, and we know about the landing, the one that crashed in the field in Pennsylvania that was believed to supposed to go to the White House or whatever.
Yeah.
There was another building in New York that also collapsed.
Building 5?
Yeah, also part of the Trade Center.
Yeah.
Not directly beside either one of the 2 big ones that fell. So what caused that one to fall? So part of the conspiracy is that they wanted all of them to go down. And the other part of the conspiracy theory is that the government had everything to do with it and orchestrated it from the beginning.
Yeah, I've heard this conspiracy.
Can't have a conspiracy theory show without talking a little bit of 9/11. I mean, you just kind of have to.
Right, I knew it was going to come up.
Yeah.
And I was a little concerned about it coming up. Not because it's sensitive material, because it is. Because nobody's doubting that people didn't perish in this. And
sensitivity aside,
awful.
I mean, we're compassionate people. We're not trying to debunk or discredit any of the heroes that we're trying to help people on those days. But
right now, I'm a huge patriot. I love my country.
Absolutely.
I'm all for the troops. I'm a veteran myself. But then, I started looking into this conspiracy thing on 9/11, and I was like, that's horseshit. I'm thinking, government, no. There's no way. And then you start looking more into it and more into it and more into it, and you're like, at first you're just like, no. It's kind of like hearing your dad did something wrong or your mom did.
Yeah.
You don't want to believe it.
You don't want to believe it.
You're like, no, my dad would never do that, or my mom would never do that. It's my mom, it's my dad. They would never behave that way. And it's same thing. My government would never do that to our people, or there's no way. And then you start hearing more, you start learning more, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Maybe the government isn't who I think it is.
I didn't include it on this list. However, the JFK thing is another one that came up in a lot of the research that I was doing. They've done movies on it. They've done, all sorts of ridiculous stuff, including the mafia's
the thing
involvement.
That's going on right now too with the whole Hulu 11/22/63.
I have no idea what that is.
What?
Yeah, no clue.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, do you have Hulu?
No.
Oh, you should get Hulu.
Is that with JFK?
Well, okay, what it is really, you haven't heard? Okay,
no.
Anyway. Okay, so what it is, originally it was a book by Stephen King called 11/22/63. I think that's the date that JFK was shot, I think. Anyway.
We're not history buffs.
Anyway, what the book is about, and now it's a miniseries on Hulu. It's an 8-part miniseries, and they're releasing them weekly. Right now, those first 2 episodes are out right now. Anyway, it stars James Franco. And what it is, it's really awesome. It's so cool. And Ron's been talking about it for months, waiting for this to come out.
He didn't talk about it on here.
Oh, that's weird. Anyway, it's a really cool story. What it is about this guy who, James Franco is friends with this diner owner guy. And then this diner owner is basically dying. He has cancer. And so he shows him, he says, I want you to go into this closet, walk around for a minute, and come out and tell me what you think. And he's like, you want me to just go into this closet and come out? He's like, yeah, just go in. Just fucking go in there. And he's like, all right. So as soon as he walks into this closet, he's like, okay. So he takes another step. All of a sudden, he's in 1960.
Huh.
At a certain day, in a certain time, a certain place. Always the same. And then he's like, whoa. And then people can see him. He reacts to him, and he's like, what the hell? So then he walks back and goes back in and returns out of the closet back in present day.
When he comes out of the closet, does he have a lisp?
So what it is like, what the hell was that? And he's like, when he tells him the date that it is and all that, it's a certain date. And every time you go in, you'll always go into that specific time, day, place, always. Anytime you come back and you go back in, it resets. So, and no matter how long you're in there, it doesn't matter how long you're in there, it's only 2 minutes past in present time.
Huh.
So you can be there for 30 years. Doesn't matter. You come out, it's only 2 minutes past. So, and that's why I like how he first discovered it, because the old man went in. Well, you don't know it, but he's at the diner, eating at the diner, and he pours him coffee, and he comes back over, gives him a check, and he looks old as fuck, and he's like dying. He's like, what the hell happened to you? And he's like, just like a few minutes ago, you seemed fine.
Yeah.
Now, and he explains it because he went in and was gone for like years and came back,
Huh.
And anyway, so he says, the whole point of the story, I'm keep skipping around it. He says, I need you to go in there and prevent the assassination of JFK. And he's like, why? He's like, things happen for a reason, da-da-da, da-da-da. And then basically his whole reason for doing it is if he stops the assassination, then Vietnam won't happen. And his buddies that he was in Vietnam with won't be killed.
Huh.
And these were good people, and that kind of thing, And so the whole story is him trying to do this.
Trying to prevent it from happening.
It's so awesome so far. It's so cool.
Andrea's got that. I'll have to borrow her account and try it.
Oh, yeah, it's so cool. Check it out, definitely. Anyway.
All right, cool. So number 5, 9/11. And the part of that conspiracy is not the whole thing of 9/11. It's just the government's direct involvement in 9/11.
Right.
Did the government
We're not
influence,
doubting it, yeah.
Right, did the government influence 9/11? All right, so number 4 on the top 10 conspiracies with a twist, the Tuskegee syphilis study. The U.S. government in have you ever heard of this one?
No, I mean, is this Tuskegee Airmen?
Similar. The U.S., I think, the U.S. government in coordination with the Tuskegee University in Alabama purposely infected African-American males with syphilis to study the differences throughout their life from a black man's immune system to a white man's immune system. This experiment ran from 1932 to 1972 and involved nearly 400 impoverished and poorly educated African-American males. For 40 years, they were never told they had syphilis and were never treated for it, even though penicillin became a standard cure in 1947, just not even 10 years, or well, just a little over 10 years after they were originally unknowingly given this disease. For participating in the study, the men received free rides to and from the clinic at Tuskegee University in Alabama. They were given hot meals and free medical treatment for minor ailments, obviously not for this one. Any treatments they thought they were also getting for their, quote, bad blood were actually placebos, aspirin, mineral supplements, things like that. Medical staff allowed nothing to interfere with their work. Even when 250 of the 400 men were drafted for service in the Second World War, the government stepped in and made them remain part of the study instead. So they waved them out of the draft, that 250
Wow.
guys. You've never heard of the Tuskegee experiment before? Don't be looking shit up on my conspiracy list.
No.
All right.
I'm not. I'm looking up something else,
Okay.
No. Yeah, I think I have heard of this before, but I don't know much about it. So I've learned more within the past couple of minutes than I...
All right. Yeah, so 1932 to 1972. That's the conspiracy theory. All right, so that was number 4. Number 3 in the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist, Area 51.
Nice.
Yep. So conspiracy theorists believe, done that every time. Conspiracy theorists believe that the remains of a crashed UFO and its inhabitants are stored at Area 51 in an Air Force base about 150 miles from Las Vegas, where government scientists reverse engineer the aliens' highly advanced technology. The government, can you hear the skepticism in my voice when I read the ones that I know aren't true? No, I'm just kidding. The government has developed advanced aircraft and weapon systems at nearby Nellis Air Force Base, including stealth bombers and reconnaissance planes. In the government's official line, the details of Area 51 are classified for the purposes of national security.
Right.
So the conspiracy that I'm talking about here, so we all know that there is obviously a base there. Now, whether or not
that's thanks to Clinton. Clinton was the first one to acknowledge its existence. Before, they were like, we don't know what you're talking about.
There's no base there.
Yeah. Like, no, I'm literally looking at it right now. Like, I don't know what you're looking at.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
Right.
Yeah, so...
They tried to use the Jedi mind trick on us until Clinton finally acknowledged it.
Yeah, exactly.
It exists.
So there's no question on whether the base is there. The conspiracy theory behind it is that it has an alien aircraft,
right?
Potentially those bodies, and they're reverse engineering that advanced technology.
Now, what are
help
your thoughts on this?
Well, so let's look at this a few different ways. After the supposed crash and the supposed capture is when advancements in fiber optics started to happen.
Then there was a huge
technological burst. Yeah.
Huge.
Microchip production and design just absolutely skyrocketed.
Because you got to think prior to this, or let's go back 100 years. 100 years ago versus 10,000 years ago, life wasn't much different.
Yeah, no.
All of a sudden,
electricity.
Yeah. All of a sudden, a huge spike.
Yep. The ability for cooling systems has dramatically increased. Microprocessing, data retention in forms of microchips. Fiber optics is probably one of the most important things that has happened because it allows communications over
brings us Youre.
Distances. Hulu. Don't get me wrong. The past 100 years has had more technological advances than the past 10,000 years combined for humanity as a whole. Yeah, there's no question. We wouldn't be having conversations about Hubble Space Hubble Space Telescopes or the new James Webb Telescope. None of that would have existed. Nothing like that.
If we didn't have the light bulb, we'd be watching TV in the dark. No, but I mean, like, as far as the Area 51 aliens, all that kind of shit, like, this is something I have a huge fascination with, and I'm still not sure where I'm at, but I'm obsessed with this crap. Like, this is thanks to my mom. My mom was huge into this shit, like aliens and fucking, and like, so it fascinates me. I grew up always very interested in all this crap, and
sweet.
Any documentary that talks about it, I watch it, and I'm always watching this UFO crap or A51 shit or whatever, and it's so fascinating. And some of the shit you watch, and it's funny because Jimmy is like my go-to skeptic. Like, cause I'll discover something on YouTube and be like, holy shit. Like, and so I'll look more, I'll do more research on it. I'll look it up. And finally I think, like, this is nuts. Like, I'm not saying I'm a believer, but it's something to look into. And so
no kidding.
I'll tell Jimmy, hey, check this out. And within like seconds, he's like looking it up. And the first negative thing he sees, it's bullshit. I was like, well, yeah, you
is
saw
Jimmy's
one
favorite website
thing.
Snopes? Is that his favorite site?
I love Snopes too. No, it's not like on Snopes so much, but just like, as long as you find somebody somewhere that said no, then that's what he's going with.
Okay. Yeah.
He doesn't believe anything, like never. He thinks everything is bullshit.
So the conspiracy theory here that I want you to focus on, not so much about aliens. All right. So let's ignore the aliens part.
Okay.
But advancements in technology, reverse engineering of some kind, has come out of Area 51 specifically.
Yeah.
All right. So that's our conspiracy theory out of Area 51 is the technological advancements that have come out of that base, and the research that they've done there has been reverse engineered from somewhere. All right. So that's our conspiracy theory on Area 51, not the aliens part. Okay. So yes, the idea of them crashed aliens in that part of the desert. Okay. Got it. But something came out of that whole section that has advanced everyone in the world's ability to use these technological advances. So,
now, have you heard this story? Keep going back. I can tell about this shit all night.
No, it's fine.
Don't get me drinking because holy shit, we'll talk about it anyway. Did you see that? It was a press conference with the ex-Secretary of Defense from Canada. Put out this like whole press conference saying that the United States is 100% you know, they have aliens, they have alien technology, they're
Really?
working with it. Yeah, he was like 100. They are absolutely doing this, and he couldn't do it until he had resigned from his position.
Huh? No.
Once he resigned, he went out there and was like, "Yeah, U.S. government, absolutely, they are doing this. They are 100% doing this. I'm telling you right now, it's happening."
How credible was he? Has he ever had any kind of?
No, it's just Secretary
wackadoo?
of Defense, you know, of Canada.
So
Nothing really happens there.
and
so.
not really. He doesn't have a whole lot to do during his day-to-day job.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right.
Interesting.
Number 2 in the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist: chemtrails.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Some of these are going to frustrate you. All right, you know what a chemtrail is.
Yes, but they're called contrails is what I like to call them.
Yeah, well, yes. So let me go over it for the listeners. Chemtrail conspiracy theorists believe that some chemtrails, which consist of ice crystals or water vapor condensed behind aircraft, actually result from chemicals or biological agents being deliberately sprayed at high altitude for some undisclosed purpose.
It's for weather control, man. Controlling the weather.
Now, you know, I didn't put this one in here. Weather control was something absolutely that's a conspiracy theory that is true. So,
well, they're talking about with chemtrails.
Right. This has nothing to do with the weather control agents that were released.
Okay.
So one of the things that the U.S. government has recently unclassified and released on, and they've done a fucking couple of shows on TV about it, was weather seeding. So seeding storms to produce larger rain output. They did this during Vietnam. This was recently released and talked about on A&E or something like that. So they would put certain agents inside. And this wasn't exactly chemtrailing. This was out of the back of a C-17 or some C-27 or something. Where they had little hoses that were just dangling out the back. And you saw this water or whatever it was coming out. And it was seeding the clouds. So the ability to test weather control absolutely has happened. But this specifically is regarding the chemtrails and using some kind of biological or chemical agent for some undisclosed purpose.
Big Brother, man.
That was number 9 or 8 or something
So
like
stupid.
that.
Because the reason why people call them chemtrails because they're standing for chemical trails, but they're actually called contrails for condensation trails.
Yep.
Which is exactly what you just said in the beginning, where it's ice crystals from condensation.
Right.
That's all they are. And the reason why you see them sometimes and the reason why you don't see them other times, because it does all depend on the weather, the temperature that's up there, those altitudes.
Humidity, pressure, everything.
Right.
All right. So that was number 2. And the number 1, just as you are fascinated with Area 51 and aliens and all that shit, I am fascinated equally so with this number 1.
Okay.
All right. So the number 1 top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist is specifically relating with this one occurrence that happened in 2004, but this topic in general. So is what I'm fascinated with. But we're going to talk about the 2004 situation. So the 2004 day after Christmas tsunami. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The one that hit,
the island somewhere.
yeah, I thought I wrote down specifically where it hit, but yeah, it hit Indonesia essentially. Yeah. A popular theory in the Muslim world is that the tsunami could have been caused by an Indian nuclear experiment in which Israeli and American nuclear experts participated. Several newspapers in Egypt and the Middle East alleged that India, in its heated nuclear race with Pakistan, has acquired sophisticated nuclear technology from the U.S. and Israel, both of which showed readiness to cooperate with Indian experiments to exterminate mankind, beginning with the heavily populated Muslim regions of Southeast Asia, where the bulk of casualties took place. If you remember, 220-some thousand people died during that tsunami. So the conspiracy theory behind this is that India planted nukes underground at the same time to instigate this earthquake to happen. So they found the right spots in the fault line, set the bombs, detonated it, which caused a chain reaction, which raised the level of the earth. What is it called? The tectonic plate shifted and caused the tsunami to happen, wiping out 220,000 people. That's a conspiracy theory behind it. Now,
I've never heard this before.
Aside of the conspiracy theory, I am eerily fascinated with tsunamis. I mean, ridiculously fascinated. Every video that has ever surfaced on any kind of tsunami anywhere I've seen. I've read every post, every article, everything, translated articles from other countries and read them just because I have a weird, very strange fascination with tsunamis. Just like the one that happened in 2008 in Japan. I am just ridiculously just fascinated. I don't like death. Don't get me wrong. I'm not fascinated with people dying or the massive numbers of casualties that happen. But I like to see. I'm eerily attracted to what happens during a tsunami. How does the water go out? How does the land? Obviously, earthquake happened beforehand. How does the water come in? Does it come in a giant? So you're like
obsessed with, not obsessed, but you're very fascinated by the geology behind it all.
Absolutely, yeah. And the sheer magnitude and power that some of these things have. I mean, the one that happened in Japan, I mean, both of them actually, but there was so much moving water. It wasn't necessarily moving fast. Some parts of it, yes, were very fast, but it was moving so powerfully that it just took entire buildings, entire cities, entire towns, and just pulled them off of the face of the earth and rushed them back out to sea. That is an immense amount of power, and that just absolutely fascinates me.
It's nuts. So, I've never heard that before. So you're saying that India has nuclear capabilities now?
India's had nuclear capabilities. I don't know. You know what?
No, because that made me think, and I was like,
India has nuclear capabilities. Yeah,
which that is.
Iran doesn't. That's the one I think you might be thinking of. Iran does not.
No, I'm not thinking of it. No, that's why I was asking about India. I mean, I don't care if India does. They're not really a threat. So I mean.
All right. So let me recap for you. All right, Tack. So 2 of these top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist are true. I'm going to go through them real quick just by title. Number 10, the moon landing. Number 9, Big Brother. Number 8, CIA created AIDS. Number 7, the Hollow Earth. 6 is Planet X or Nibiru. Number 5 is 9/11. Number 4 is the Tuskegee syphilis. Number 3 is Area 51. Number 2 is Kim or Comtrails. Number 1 is the 2004 tsunami. Based on that top 10 list, which 2 do you think are true? And you'll win this lovely prize. I'm holding my dick for listeners at home.
Yeah. I'm going to guess the Tuskegee.
Yep, spot on. That is 100% true. Recently declassified. Now, I think those were declassified about 8 or 9 years ago. But yes, that is a very, very true thing that happened. And it's a very shameful thing for the government to have ever done. But it was true.
I think that's actually, because I think I did hear that. She said CIA, right?
I don't think I named a government agency in this. I don't think I could find that. No, I didn't name a government agency in this.
Yeah, because, I think I heard about this because I was looking into something else as far as conspiracy theories, and they were talking about how the government already has a shady past already.
Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely.
So it'd be as no surprise if they were involved in 9/11, kind of a thing, you know?
Yep. Is that your number 2?
No.
Okay.
That's never going to be proven to be true, I don't think. It's like JFK thing. They're never going to prove that to be true either. Now, wouldn't the CIA AIDS one kind of be the same thing as the Tuskegee thing?
No, different.
I know it's 2 different things, but it's kind of the same thing.
Well, it's the government being involved in some kind of chemical testing on people. I mean, technically.
I guess so. But that's not it, right?
That's up to you. It's up to you to decide. I'll give you a hint. The moon landing conspiracy is not based in any truth at all. So there you go. I eliminated one for you.
Oh, good. I had, besides those 2, what other ones were in the first 5?
Moon landing, Big Brother, CIA and AIDS, Hollow Earth, Planet X, or Nibiru.
Let's go with Planet X.
All right. While the existence of this 9th new planet is a fact right now, NASA has proven it to be factual. Okay. It has nothing to do with the conspiracy theory behind Planet X or Nibiru. Nothing at all.
So what are you saying? There's no truth behind it being on a collision course?
No, none at all.
But there is something out there.
Yeah, there definitely is a planet. Has nothing to do with Planet X or Nibiru.
So is it really going to come through to where we can see it?
Potentially, but you and I will have been dead for 10,000 years. I'll go through them again. 2014 tsunami. Not true. Well, it happened. It was not set off by an explosion. Chemtrails. Not true either. There is no proof or evidence that supports the government's interference with biological or chemical weapons. Area 51, while there have been lots of things that have come out of Area 51, none of it has been proven to be advancements in technology based on reverse engineering of any kind. So that's not true. Tuskegee Airmen, or excuse me, the Tuskegee syphilis study is true. That's one of them. 9/11, none of the evidence that has come out of it, other than skepticism out of the public, has to do anything with the government being involved at all. Planet X or Nibiru, not true. Completely false. The Hollow Earth,
that was going to be my second choice.
Not true at all. The Earth's molten core is a giant ball of hot liquid iron. So there's no air bubbles that could be inside that at all. A CIA created AIDS? Nope, not true either. Moon landing, that's not true. So, believe it or not, the COG, or continuity of government, has been in effect since 2011. Excuse me, since 2001. After 9/11, it went into action. So that's the Big Brother conspiracy theory. The Big Brother conspiracy theory, deep state or government in waiting or continuity of government conspiracy, is 100% true.
Now, can you remind me again on what it is that they do?
Sure, it's the shadow government. So it's a government in waiting that steps in case of any kind of major crisis inside the United States. It's to make sure the government is still functioning should it lose a head of state,
so
or should it lose.
Take over, run the country, and then turn it back over once everything's
correct.
Back to zero.
It kicked in during the attacks of September 11th.
Who runs this?
I don't have that information.
So they reside over the president too?
I don't think it's over the president. I think it's until the president can get office back in line. I don't know the answer to that question. That leads us to more investigation after the show, Tack.
Oh, all right.
So the two that are true, Big Brother and the Tuskegee syphilis study. All the rest of them, complete hokum, but they're fun to talk about.
Well, they're not complete hokum. They just haven't been proven yet. So
okay.
There's not enough evidence.
You love that Area 51, don't you? You're just waiting for it.
I'm so fascinated by it.
You want little green men are going to come visit you in your room tonight because we talked about it.
Well, don't scare me or excite me at the same time.
Awesome. All right. Well, what'd you think of this week's top 10 list, Tack?
It's good, man.
You liked it?
I'm going to give you a teaser.
Oh, boy.
Next week's top 10 list. I'm trying to figure out how to do this teaser. I really don't want you to guess. Don't try to guess or anything.
Okay, no.
Just hear my thing and go, okay, all right.
All right.
So I'm going to do an impression.
Okay.
I'm going to attempt to do the impression. You can guess who the impression is.
Okay.
So, okay. Oh, Marty.
Oh, that's Dr. Fuck, what's his name from Back to the Future?
Yes, that's Doc Brown.
Doc Brown. Jesus Christ, I couldn't think of it.
And that's it. That's all I'm going to give you.
That's the teaser.
That's the teaser.
Oh, fucker. All right. Well, cool deal. This has been episode number 4 of the Twisted 10. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. Give us some feedback on our Facebook page. It's the Twisted 10 on Facebook. We look forward to hearing from you guys. Hopefully here soon in an upcoming episode, you'll hear from a couple guest hosts that were guest hosts we're going to have on board, and they're going to bring in their own top 10 list to present to Tack and myself.
And don't forget to follow us on iTunes, subscribe,
rate and
review.
Definitely. All right, guys. Thanks. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
I'm not talking about the reality show. I'm talking about
right.
The government called Big
Spying,
Brother.
The government spying in.
Yep. It's also called Deep State. Deep State sounds like a porn. Or shadow government or government in waiting. Essentially, this is a government or a continuity of government that's put in place in certain cases, like if there's a nuclear war that happens, or if there's an impact from an asteroid or some kind of major catastrophe in the U.S. or terrorist attack or anything that's in real situations that could occur, this government in waiting or Big Brother or Deep State comes out and takes over and takes effect. So one of the quotes that they use to cite this is that during 9/11, this shadow government stepped in and took over until, everything was brought back down to normal situations to where, normal government could take back over and run the country as it was supposed to. So that's a conspiracy. It's not recognized as being accurate, but that's a conspiracy theory that is out there.
I gotcha. Okay.
It says since the end of the Cold War, the policies and procedures for COG, or continuity of government, have been altered according to realistic threats of that time. These include, but not limited to, possible coup or overthrow, terrorist groups or terrorist attacks in general, an assassination, nuclear attacks, and so on. So this is currently labeled as Big Brother or Deep State. Very interesting conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I never heard that one.
All right. Number 8. The CIA created AIDS.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You're listening to The Twisted 10, bringing you original and unique, host-created top 10 list, recorded live in world-famous Cocoa Beach, Florida, with hosts Tack Van Sickle and Adam Poston.
Welcome to The Twisted 10. I am one of your hosts, Adam, and over to my right is Tack. How are you doing, Tack?
What's up?
Yeah. This is a top 10 list that is a host-generated top 10 list. This is not something we yank off the internet, and it's our own derivatives of what we find interesting and poignant to give to our audience.
Indeed.
So welcome to episode number 4.
Thank you.
So each week, one of the hosts comes up with a list and delivers it on air live with spontaneity to the other host or to the guests that happen to be in the studio.
That's right, Adam. This week you're hosting. Yep. I have no idea what topic you brought to the table.
So I kind of teased it a little bit in episode number 3. And if you didn't get the tease, I don't really remember what the tease was, but if you didn't get it in the tease...
I don't even remember what the tease was.
This week is the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist.
Oh, so it's like it'll play on the Twisted 10.
Yes. I see what you did there. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it. I mean, yes, that is exactly what I meant when I came up with the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist. Good job, Adam. You want to know what the twist is? I don't mind telling the twist up front, because you can think about this as we go through the top 10.
So we're going to M. Night this? Okay.
A little bit. So this is the top 10 that I found most interesting. Top 10 conspiracy theories. The twist is 2 out of these top 10 turn out to be true.
Ooh.
Yes.
So do we have to guess at the end?
Yeah.
Or I have to guess?
You're going to have to guess. It's just me and you.
Well, me and the listeners.
Yes.
Okay.
I won't say anything until the very end, but 2 of these top 10 conspiracy theories is true.
Cool.
Let me preface this by saying, because some of what Tack and I do for a living, government related, these are conspiracy theories. These are internet finds. This is not mine and Tack's personal opinions. So these,
right.
We need to make sure we clarify that right now.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, getting that liability out of the way. So let's jump right off with one of the most outstanding conspiracy theories that I've heard in a long time.
Okay.
And a lot of these, Tack, you're probably going to know. Okay. Or have heard of them before. A couple of them, I guarantee you haven't. But let's go with it anyway. So number 10 on the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist is the moon landing. The conspiracy theory is that we never actually landed on the moon back in the 60s.
Right.
That it actually never happened. Conspiracy theories, theorists tear apart the photos and video citing evidence of photo alteration, no stars in the background, no photos of the gear left on the moon. So the moon has no atmosphere. 0 atmosphere.
Correct.
All right. So one of the proofs that the conspiracy theorists cite is that the flag, when planted, the American flag, flutters as if it's in the wind.
Right. I've never heard this one either. But
this conspiracy theory is that the CIA created AIDS in order to wipe out homosexuals and African Americans. Suggests that vaccines administered in the U.S. by the U.S. government actually contain the disease. However, the conspiracy theorists are divided in concluding when the CIA actually administered the disease in said vaccines, with one theory being that it was created in military labs before deliberately injected into gay men during the 1978 hepatitis B experiments in parts of America. So the CIA created AIDS.
When we were
theory.
Younger, AIDS was like huge back then. Like,
way more popular. Now it's just like,
Yeah, like now you don't hear anything about AIDS anymore.
Well, it's livable now. We've talked about that in the past. It's livable. I wouldn't say curable unless you've got millions of dollars to throw at it, but it's livable. You can survive and have a normal, healthy life.
Right, they like tattoo that shit in our brains, like sorry. They tattooed that shit in our brains, like we're gonna get AIDS. You'll get AIDS, be protected, watch out for sex, and we all started thinking, well, they're trying to scare us just to stay virgins, you know? Because like back then, like we never knew anybody with AIDS.
Yeah, AIDS was the scariest thing to our generation of youth for sure.
Yeah. And then now you don't even hear anything about it anymore. It's crazy.
Agreed.
And we were told that it was created in a lab,
Yep. Yeah,
and
some of the conspiracy theories.
Scientists fucked up.
Yep.
And then made it, injected himself with it, went home, slept with his wife, and next thing you know, it's an epidemic.
There were parts of
Correct.
All right.
I watched Mythbusters, the whole episode where they debunked this completely, and of course that we've gone to the moon. Absolutely.
Yeah. Granted, at the time of the original conspiracy theories came out, they might not have had good photos of the equipment that's left on the moon, but it's very evident on many NASA websites now that you can see the lander that's still there, the vehicle. Right. You can see where the
tracks are still there.
Because there's no wind and there's nothing on the surface of the moon that's going to cause anything. So all the footprints, all of the tracks of the vehicles made, everything is still there.
Yep. Not to mention that the mirror that's also placed on the surface as well, that you send a laser to and it returns.
Yep.
So it wouldn't do that otherwise.
Also, if you ask Buzz Aldrin about this, as a journalist did a few years back, about the conspiracy about not landing on the moon, you might get socked in the face, as did this journalist. But this guy got asked Buzz Aldrin,
Buzz, man.
and he straight decked this guy. Old Buzz Aldrin. This wasn't young whippersnapper. This is old Buzz Aldrin.
No,
punched this guy right in the face.
Buzz Aldrin's an interesting character. I mean, I believe absolutely that he punched somebody in the face. That's not surprising at all. And what's cool about him is that he's also, you start talking about UFOs and shit with him, and he speaks a little like, hey, I heard the U.S. government, has aliens and, alien technology over Area 51.
Hey, don't be jumping ahead in my top 10 list
anyway,
here.
he'll be one of those, well, I can't confirm or deny, but I've seen some shit.
Yeah. All right. So that was number 10. Number 9 on the top 10 conspiracy theories with a twist is Big Brother.